Man, I know I look effing cranky. I'm wearing my mask. We have had guys come today to talk about painting our house, which is, I like this guy, but you have to watch him. He will try and push his ideas. He wants to paint the house the interior, the kitchen, a very dark turquoise. I'm not all about that. I want something neutral. Normally I would do that, but this is one of those houses where we may have to sell it. I want neutrals, or I want stuff that's easy on the eyes like this. We'll talk about the Olympics. Are you watching the Olympics? I admit I haven't been, but hey Cheryl, I definitely have thoughts about the Olympics. It's been interesting because people are finally saying some of the stuff that I've said about the Olympics for years. I think the Olympics are a good thing. I think that there's all kinds of opportunities, but there's some things that just really have always disturbed me about it, and watching just bits and pieces because they're not showing it on our NBC channel here all the time like they are in the States. I watched them with my kids when I was there. The opening ceremonies happened, and they were pretty interesting. It's my husband's phone ringing, not mine. So the thing with the Olympics, okay, I think it's great to have competitions like that. My problem with the Olympics is that these host cities will spend millions of dollars putting up facilities that they immediately tear down. Now, there are some cities that haven't done that haven't spent the money and then trashed it. I understand that some of the stadiums in Tokyo, they're going to tear them down immediately after the Olympics. It's a huge waste of money. I hate to see resources be allocated like that and then not used. The Olympics it was the city that did it right, was the Munich Olympics back in the 70s. Since that time, they've taken the Olympic facilities, and there's a huge park there now. Here it is in Dutch. I don't care enough to watch on my computer. Cheryl, I feel you, because here it's in Spanish, and sometimes we can change Spanish to English, sometimes we can't. And there's only really a couple of sports that really interest me. I'm just not sports oriented. So I'm thinking they should be using the same facilities again and again, or use them for other things. Like I said, Munich has a huge park. That could work, something like that. But when I hear about these cities that are hosting the Olympics to put in these multi-million-dollar facilities and then tear them down afterwards, it's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous amount of money to spend on anything. I have heard everybody criticizing Simone Biles because she did not compete. I can understand that too. I think that the Olympics puts a tremendous amount of pressure on vulnerable young people who are maybe not ready for that. So as far as I'm concerned, they really need to revamp the Olympics all the way around, between the way they do their facilities, the pressure that's put on the kids, all of that needs to just be completely rethought of. I do have to say one thing. I did watch the surfing competitions. Few cities make money back from the construction. You're right. Very few cities do. But um, Stinky's running around outside. But the ones, I couldn't help but think about the surf ranch. I don't know if you guys know what the Kelly Slater's surf ranch is. It's in California. It's 100 miles inland from the ocean. It's pretty awesome. I've watched some competitions there through the last 3 or 4 years. They have this thing they drag that creates the wave. There's a giant, I don't even know what you'd call it, scoop. And I'm of the belief that maybe they should start for some of the things that need waves, some of the competitions like surfing need to be held someplace like Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch. They held a surfing this time in Japan in the ocean. And I know there are surfers in Japan, but I'm not sure that the surfers in Japan or the waves are really what you would call top notch. I saw some concerns on some of the surfing boards. People were bitching about that, about how difficult it was because the surfers had to wait for the right wave. And you're dealing with Mother Nature, so I'm thinking they probably should host it someplace like Kelly Slater's Surf Ranch, which is Kelly Slater's Kelly Slater Jeeps Surf Ranch now. And the problem with yeah, I got to give her credit for that too, Cheryl. She recognized that she was not quite right, and the pressure was too much, and it was impacting her mental health, and she stepped away. I think that's actually very wise of her. She's getting a lot of criticism for it, but no, she did. She absolutely did what the right thing was for her. And that's saying it, even as I know she's trained for years for this moment, the Olympics. Your mental health, and I'm just going to say that yet again, your own mental health is worth more than any gold medal, any applause online, any charitable thing you've been asked to do, anything that does not help you reach the goal of where you want to be as a human being and puts too much pressure on you. You just need to just push it again. I don't know. I don't know who that's ringing. That's his phone. So taking care of your mental health should be job one, whether an Olympian or a housewife or a businessman or a teenager in school or even a small child. It's got to be job one. And Simone did that. And I have nothing but mad respect for her for doing that. And I think it needs to spark a conversation about the mental health of all the young people participating in the Olympics. I gotta laugh. The one swimmer, diver, I think it was swimmer from the UK brought his knitting along. And I love that. I'm all for that. You know, MIT has said that knitting and crocheting is as good for your brain as meditating. It's as good for your brain and it de-stresses you. And every time I saw him up there in his swimming suit doing the knitting a sweater for his dog, I think it was, I approve of that. Got my personal stamp of approval. So there's that. But back to the whole thing with where was I going? The surfing and Simone Biles and everything else that had happened. You got to have a fair playing field. This is the first year they've had surfing. It needs to be at a facility that can crank out that consistent 6 to 8 foot wave at the exact angle that you can ride. That is the only way to actually judge that, is to make sure the playing field is 100% level and you're using the artificial wave to do it. You do? I don't know how to knit. I got a bunch of knitting needles someone gave me, but I don't know how to knit. I can make just about anything in crochet, but I don't know how to knit. Our house is filled with crocheted items. I've made crocheted rugs. I'm right now starting on my crocheted valance for the kitchen. It would have worked with the turquoise he wanted to paint it, and I would have loved it, but I already have tile up that's beige, so I have to go with what I got. It does relax you, and that's something more people need, is a relaxing hobby in their life that will lower their blood pressure, focus their brain on something other than the latest thing that's going on. Cheryl, yeah, I believe they have to do that. I think the Olympics are going to have to change. I don't know why they just don't build the facility in Greece, the home of the Olympics. And instead of traveling all over the place, they already have a facility in place to actually handle this every 4 years instead of having to move it around from city to city. And a lot of the cities that are competing and bidding may not be the best suited. I would not have picked Tokyo. Tokyo is the most heavily populated part of Japan, which is already heavily populated. And then you put the Olympics there. Now, granted, they weren't wearing they weren't having massive crowds because of COVID, which is wise. But it just feels like it's time to move. It's time to make a permanent facility. So those are my thoughts on the Olympics. And like I said, I don't watch a lot of the competition. I watched the rowing this time. I watched the surfing. I watched some of the skateboarding because that was the first time I've had that. And my son was an insane skateboarder. He loved to skateboard. Yeah, Greece is perfect. They have perfect weather for that. And it could be a training facility. And they can make a park out of it like it is in Munich, where there's this beautiful park that you can go walk around. There's a lake, there's trails, there's beautiful trees. Because we lived in Germany and I was in Munich, I would sometimes especially if I had family as tourists there who had decided to look at the Olympic Park, and I've already seen it 2 or 3 times. I would bring a book and go sit down on in one of the benches that borders the lake and just sit there and read for the afternoon while they ran around and looked at all the facilities. So I know I'm just one little voice with not many viewers, and that's okay. That is okay, but that needs to happen. Now, before I go, I need to just really quickly say I don't know how many people looked at Sunshinery's almost 6 hour live last night, yesterday afternoon, last night, where they were throwing poor Julie Virgo under the bus. Now, Julie, I hold nothing against her. Ah, the evil wannabe. The end. JC, my viewers are loyal. I love that. I love to be able to talk about anything. JC, we were just talking about the Olympics. We were talking about how they probably need to build an Olympic stadium and all that in Greece and just hold it back there. And about the pressures all those young people that are participating in have faced, like Simone Biles, because she stepped out when she started having mental issues with that. I thought that was really wise, really, really wise of her. Okay.
Miss, come. Necesitamos un pedacito de hielo.
Yellow?
Ice, sí.
No, no yellow. I will paint myself beige. No yellow. No yellow. They that is the painter. They're trying to twist my arm into using a color they want. Hell no. I will hire another painter. I will hire another painter before I do that. I didn't watch the stream. I saw a couple little bits and pieces that people posted. They dragged Julie Virgo very badly in that. Julie and I have knocked heads and haven't been the best of friends, even though we were following each other. And she said what she said about me to Real Entertainment News about my boobs dragging. Well, I'm 61. I've had cancer. Of course my boobs are sagging. I don't happen to feel that's an insult, but she did that, and I was offended, and she apologized, and I accepted her apology, and we're cool. But I don't like to see anybody dragging somebody for something stupid. Let's drag KJ, not each other. I think that all these explaining myself videos where people are talking about all kinds of crap, they're not doing anybody any good. They're just creating more and more drama for everybody. And I don't know Sunshinery. The only thing I know about her is that her and Real Entertainment News have had some head knockings. And if you express your views online, you're going to have some head knockings. Like I said, when I started writing for Pathos nearly 10 years ago, actually it was about 10 years ago now, I had to develop a rhino skin because people were always coming and wanting to know what was wrong with me. They were saying stuff like my theology was wrong, this was wrong, that was wrong, whatever. People are free to believe what they want and don't believe. And and I've said it again and again and again and again and again. Hey, small town Jewel. I was talking about the Olympics earlier. I'm not a big fan, and I ran down my reasons why and how I think they should do it. But like I said, I'm just one small creator. I'm sure the Olympic Committee is not going to listen to me, but hopefully enough people will say the same thing that they do listen. So you see what I'm dealing with here with the repair guys and the guys that do the housework. The painter wants to paint the color he wants to paint, and I have no desire to let him do that. He first came in with turquoise or green, and I love turquoise and I love green, but the shades he was showing me were way too dark. And I was just not, yeah, Cheryl, I do too. I watch him sometimes. And they want his channel shut down and they insult him and cry when he hits back. You're absolutely right. That's exactly. I went on his channel and I talked to him and BX Beast Boy. I kind of stayed out of it for a long, long time with those. But here's the thing, there aren't that many black male creators. They just aren't on YouTube. And I kind of feel like we have to support the ones we have, which leads to my point I was getting to. You don't have to love everybody. You don't even have to like anybody. You don't even have to like somebody to support them. Like I said, Julie Virgo and I, we've had our head knockings, but I still support her. I support what she's doing on as much as I can, and I'm not going to fight with her. The paint, Small Town Jewel, I think he's going trying to get a discount on the paint. He's told my husband that. And so he's trying to pick a color he wants. And I'm like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that. So that's why I went into Reels. And is Real my favorite person in this world? No. Is BX Beast Boy? No. But I understand where they're coming from, and I do like their stream sometimes. I wanted to talk to Real about doing maybe a cooking stream because there's a lady that is on YouTube's and she's on Facebook, does these videos. It's a very young gal, maybe 18, 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there. She does these cooking videos that get all these huge hits, and it's always pre-prepared packaged food. And I just look at that and I'm like, because some of the stuff she makes does not even look right at all. Recently, I saw one where she took 2 cans of Campbell's condensed soup and poured them into a pie shell, mixed them with some shredded cheese, it's pre-treated with all kinds of chemicals, and then she had white bread that she toasted and put processed cheese on, cut all the crusts off, stuck the sandwiches on top of the pie with butter, with a little pat of butter in a sandwich, and baked it, and then said, "Oh, this is so delicious," and stuff. I Oh, you do? I didn't even know. It came in different colors. The Dark Magician, really fair and respectful commentary while still being fun. Yeah, I think so. I think that there needs to be more fun. So, same Cheryl. I don't agree with some of what he says, but I hate seeing him push the way he's been. So I want to talk to him about doing a maybe a cooking thing, maybe a collaboration, because I looked at this woman's food she made yesterday. It was just not the best she could have done. I started thinking about redoing that recipe and filming every bit of it because she could have made it really delicious with real tomatoes, a little balsamic vinegar, some salt, pepper, and a few spices. Mix it in with mozzarella balls. Then in a whole wheat pie crust that you make, because pie crusts are pretty easy. And then the toppers would have to be either whole wheat bread or some type of something delicious with the more delicious cheese and real butter instead of margarine, and bake it together and see how it comes out. I think it would probably be absolutely delicious like that, unlike the tomato soup. He does like talking about food, Cheryl, and I love to eat food. I love to cook. I may not do, there are a lot of things in this world I don't do well. I don't I don't say no well. I'm working on that. Man, I'm dropping pills. I don't say no well. I get trapped in these situations where I've helped somebody out, and then they have to keep hitting me up to help them out, help them out, help them out. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at saying no. I'm not good at things that a lot of people are good at. I'm not good at organization. My ADD brain just cannot comprehend that stuff. So my point being that you're not going to have you're not going to like everybody. You're not going to like everybody's channels. Speaking of real entertainment news, that was one thing that Sunshinery and them did. They drug his co-host. Uh, JC, that's because I'm annoyed. I am effing annoyed. I'm about to break out the Spanish curse words, and they won't be pretty. I think they realize that I'm the boss on these things. Jim just kind of blah 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 blah. I don't know. We're not doing yellow. We're not doing yellow. I will do turquoise before I'll do yellow. Turquoise would look good in there, but I've already put in this beige and white tile. So that's the deal. That's the deal on that. they were dragging Ren's co-host. It's a lady named Tia. I don't know her very well. She's Muslim, I believe. She has the headscarf, the hijab, and I didn't know until yesterday that she had vision problems. I knew there was something that was not normal. I can't get Bayer here, but I can get a similar shade. So I'm gonna look what robe and linen is and pick from there. Yep, I think that because it's a huge space in there. You saw yesterday, huge space. The kitchen is huge. The living room is huge. Our bedroom is huge. The other bedrooms are tiny. We actually have a dressing room back there, and this is a very comfortable bedroom. That's one of the reasons why we bought this stupid house. I didn't know that Tia was fully blind. I knew something was not normal or right about her, the way she looked, and I couldn't figure it out. And I don't talk about it. I don't talk shit about other people when they have those sort of things going on. I didn't know what the deal was with Tia. I just knew she seemed a little strange, and that she was in Australia and she was a Muslim woman with a hijab around her head, and that's all cool. She didn't seem like she was my cup of tea because she said some things about the anti-KJ community that I completely disagree with. But that's okay. Like I said, you're not going to like everybody. Everybody's not going to like you. And I wasn't going to say anything about Tia until this moment because that's Ren's choice to have her as his co-host. And I have to honor that choice, whether I like his choice or not. And now that I know that what she's dealing with, it makes his choice make a lot more sense, and I have a lot more empathy and understanding for her than I did before. Yeah, so the light beige, tan neutral, Roman linen, that's the way to go. That is what we're going to do. I showed him the color I wanted, the exact color, and he's still back here saying that yellow bullshit. Dealing with these guys is a pain in the ass. She does have Real's back, and I think Real needs to have somebody having his back. I think that he's a work in progress, like all of us are works in progress. I know I certainly am, and I I'm a work in progress, and I would hope everybody else is too. I painted my kitchen that color, and it turned out great. Lisa, I'm sure that is like the prettiest color of all time for kitchens because, like I said, I'm one day I can see 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, whatever. We would probably have to sell this place. I'm 61. My husband's going to turn 70. We're not going to live forever. Now we're passing it on to our kids, but the reality is we're not going to live forever. And that was really beat into my skull recently when I discovered I'd had a thalamic stroke 6 months ago. I didn't have MS. I didn't have any of the other things they were saying I had to be tested for. It was a stroke, and the doctor failed me. So, and I have other older damage in there that I'm pretty sure that I had a stroke in utero or else as a young baby or child. The damage is so old in there, but it explains a lot of my health problems, and the thalamus is related to mast cell and asthma too. It can drive that. So I would not be surprised one bit that all this crap I'm dealing with is from the thalamus damage I had early on in my life. It's just crazy, some of the things that they're finding out these days. So now you've heard about the color I'm painting my kitchen. You see me yell at the guy who wants me to paint it yellow. All of that. So, So I think I'm going to go. I'm still in bed. That's why I'm wearing this, what I might call my nightgown dress. We're both sick as dogs. I don't know what is going on. We haven't been tested for COVID. Neither one of us have a lot of the symptoms. It's just sore throat, feeling crappy, and high fever is what this is. My husband's been having it for like a week or so, and he just got worse, and he was exposed to COVID. Lisa, I don't have to worry about that here. The preservative you're talking about, I can't remember the entire name. It's like Asmo something. It is not in any bread here. It is banned worldwide, everywhere but the US. And so I can eat bread again. Who knew? I can eat bread in foreign countries. Now, if I go to Costco and I buy the bread that they have invented in the States, that baked in the States, I can't eat it. It makes me sick. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go lay down again and crochet. That's what I do when I don't feel well. You guys have a great day. I guess I'm gonna have to go out there and fight with the painters. Ugh.